In Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff from California. Congressman, thanks for taking a few minutes. Let me set it up this way. President Obama had the highest approval rating of his second term this fall. He was out there campaigning for Hillary Clinton. The Democrats had this huge supposed advantage in the early vote, all this banked vote that we heard about, this huge advantage in the ground game. They had the better surrogates. They had the stars, the musical stars who were out there campaigning. They had the advantage in the ad war. They had Donald Trump get hit with a scandal we couldn't think of a precedent for in a general election campaign before. They led in the polls in all the key swing states. What went wrong yesterday for your party?
Well, Steve, you're probably a better analyst than I am, but I think the bottom line is Donald Trump's message hit a chord with more Americans than the message that we had. And I think it explained not only why his candidacy ultimately was successful, but also why Bernie Sanders had such passion in his campaign. This really was a year of the outsider. When there's a large part of the country that is feeling very uncertain about its economic future, that is not looking at the life it thought it would have or the future it hoped to have, and is worried about their children's future. And I think what he spoke to resonated. Now, what concerns me is while he did strike a chord, there wasn't really much of a promise of a solution. Or if there was a promise, it really wasn't fleshed out. We have little idea of where this new president is headed. And I hope for the country's sake that he is willing to extend his hand and work across the aisle. There are some things that he championed I think we can find common ground on, like investing in the broken infrastructure of the country. But there is a big divide out there. I was elected in 2000. I remember the Bush-Gore race very well. That was hard. This is harder. And we have a lot to overcome in the next several months.
The Democratic establishment, members of Congress, governors, people with titles in the Democratic Party, overwhelmingly lined up behind Hillary Clinton very early in this thing. And really, besides Bernie Sanders, there was no other serious competition for her for the Democratic presidential nomination. In hindsight, was it a mistake for the Democratic Party to line up so aggressively, so early behind Hillary Clinton? Did it make her seem like too much of the establishment figure, given what you found yourselves up against in Donald Trump?
When you're on the losing end of a campaign, you always second-guess yourselves. But honestly, I think she was a very strong candidate, a superbly qualified candidate. And maybe in this year of the outsider, that was just not enough. Just not enough. And when you come in as essentially running for a third Democratic term in a row, that is a high hurdle for even the best candidate. We were not able to clear that hurdle. But I do agree with the president and his optimism. I come back to something that Bill Clinton once said, that there's nothing wrong in America that can't be cured by what's right in America. I think Barack Obama did advance the country substantially. We move forward. We're going to continue to move forward. There may be times where we have setbacks, and for my party, this was a tremendous one. We got knocked to the ground, but we're going to dust ourselves up, pick ourselves up, and move forward. I will say this. With Republican control of the Senate, of the House, with a new appointment to the Supreme Court, those of us in the minority are going to be scrupulous about guarding our constitutional rights, the rights of minorities, the progressive policies that we have championed. So we don't intend to give ground there, but we do intend to extend our hand. We want this next president to be able to lead the country successfully. We need the country to be successful, and we've got to find a way to come together after this most divisive of campaigns.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, Democrat from California. Thanks for joining.